So let's take a look at the first concept over here, the midpoint of a line segment. So let's say in general, you have 2 points. Okay, so a line segment is just a line connecting 2 points, a straight line connecting 2 points. So let's say if I have point A and I have point B, and in general, I have the coordinates for A as x1 and y1. And in general, I have the coordinates for point B as x2 and y2, like how we do our gradient and distance. So where on earth is our midpoint? Okay, where is the midpoint? The midpoint is actually over here. So this is our midpoint. And how do we find the coordinates of the midpoint? If you were to look at the x coordinate horizontally, right? The midpoint is in the middle of the x coordinate, meaning it is technically the average of the two x coordinate. Okay? Now similarly, if you look at the y coordinate like this, vertical coordinates, the midpoint should also be at the average of the two y coordinates. So this is why the first formula that we'll look at for midpoint, okay, the coordinates for midpoint is actually the average of your x coordinates. So you add the x coordinates together, divide by 2, okay, and at the same time you have your y coordinates added up together, divide by 2. Okay, so this thing itself, it is a coordinate, a bracket of coordinates, your x coordinate and the y coordinate, x value, y value. Okay, so this midpoint will have the average of the two x values. This one will have the average of the two y values. Okay, so very easily, let's take a look at, what is this? Exercise 7.3. Okay, we are not looking at the other examples, okay? We're just looking at this. Okay, so exercise 7.3. And then this one, it will be good to box this because this will be the formula of the day. Okay, so exercise 7.3, let's look at question 1. So find the coordinates of the midpoint of A and B. So let's say A is this, B is that. Okay, so what is the coordinate of the midpoint? So we make use of the formula for midpoint. Okay, so the average, so it is a coordinate, x coordinate and y coordinate. Okay, and then we need to look for the average of the x coordinate. So this is 3 plus 7 over 2 for x. For the y, it is the average of these two things. So 6 and 8 divided by 2. So this will be equals to 5 and 4. 5 and 7. Okay, 5 and 7, just like that. Okay, so the concept very short. Concept very, very short. Okay, so far okay. Now, at the same time, is it necessary to always write down this working? If you can see the midpoint, you actually don't need to do any working. For example, what is the number between 3 and 7? 5. Right? And what is the number right in the middle of 6 and 8? 7. So if you can see that, then you don't need this formula at all. You just need to look for the average of the two things. Okay? Now, so in the same way, let's look at part B. Now we have 2 points again, point A and B. A is -5 and 3. B is going to be 11 and -7. Okay, so how? What is the midpoint for this one? Okay, let me point to maybe someone. Okay, you want to try? So what's the midpoint? What should I write over here? This one? 3. This is 3 or this is 3? Downstairs? This is 3. This one is? Okay. Can 3 and -2? How to get 3 and -2? It will be -5 plus 11 over 2. This is 3 plus a -7 over 2. Okay? To get this midpoint. Nice. Okay? Alright, number 2. So now we look at the reverse case. Let's say if they give you the midpoint, but you have an unknown in the coordinate, what should we do? Okay, so this will be for question 2. Okay, so question 2, part A. Okay, we've got M and N. So M is 3, 5. Or M is the midpoint. Sorry. B is 6, 7. And then we need to look for the unknown point A. Okay, so this one is the midpoint. This is the unknown point A. Okay, so let's say if you don't have anything, we can let the point A take the coordinate of X and Y first. Okay, but let's say if you want to play safe, you can put A, B, C, D, E, F, up to you. If you want to avoid the generic X and Y. Okay, still shorter? Okay, so how do we build our equation? So the midpoint is 3, 5. Okay, and this is equals to the average of the 2 points, correct? So this will be X plus 6 over 2. This one will be Y plus 7 over 2. Okay, and what do? We can compare by coordinates. So this is the X coordinate. This is your Y coordinate, and we compare coordinate by coordinate. So the X value over here, so 3 is equals to X plus 6 over 2. You can solve for X, X will be equals to 0. Okay? At the same time, you can look at the Y coordinate. 5 is equals to Y plus 7 over 2. Solving for Y, Y is going to be equals to 3. And then, is that the final answer? We need to find the coordinates of A. So the final answer is A is 0, 3. So this is our final answer. Okay? After finding the coordinates. Okay? Any questions so far? All good? Clear? So this one, easy skill. A bit longer, but still easy. Okay, then for part B over here, midpoint is -2 and 6. B is -4 and 8. And what can we do is we can let point A, we need to look for point A to be X and Y in general. So same thing, the midpoint, coordinates for midpoint, is going to be equals to the average of this one. Okay? Yeah. -8. Careless. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Minus. Okay. Can? So with this one over here, so let's look at the X coordinate. Okay. This one, X coordinate over here. So your -2 is equals to X minus 4 over 2. So X is equals to also 0. Okay. Then your Y coordinate, 6 is equals to Y minus 8 over 2. Okay. Y is going to give me 4. So the coordinate of A is 0, 4. Like that. Is it 4? Jialat, not 4. This is 16. No, 16. 12 plus 8, 20. 20. Okay? Can? Salah. Okay, Okay, now so after dealing with midpoint, right? After dealing with midpoint, we can actually apply midpoint onto something a bit more advanced, okay? Which is to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector, okay? So over here, we need to add one more concept over here, okay? In order to find the equation of perpendicular, okay, bisector. Okay, so here let me draw out a diagram to show you what's going on. So let's say if you have points A and B. Okay, you have a point A and B over here. Okay, so A, same thing, x1 and y1. B is going to be x2 and y2. Okay, now then, last time, like in geometric construction, how do you draw the perpendicular bisector? Have you learned this before? Using the compass? How to get a perpendicular bisector? You're going to draw one arc here. You're going to draw another 2 arcs there. Straight line through these 2 things, correct? So what is a perpendicular bisector? Perpendicular means 90 degrees. Bisector means cut into half. So we are looking at a line that will cut AB into half. One more time. We are looking for a line that will cut AB into half. at 90 degrees. Okay? So means in order to look for the perpendicular bisector, we are looking at this line over here. Means we need to look for the middle. Is this middle enough? Look for the middle. And we need to look for the line that cuts through this one over here at a right angle. Ayo, my right angle ugly here. Okay, right angle. Okay? So this is our perpendicular bisector. Okay? Perpendicular for the 90 degree, bisector cut into half. Okay, so in the same fashion, when you look for an equation of a line, what do you need again? When you look for the equation of a line, what ingredients do you need? You need gradient and a point, correct? So in order to look for the gradient of perpendicular bisector, okay, you need two things. Same thing, you need the gradient. Okay, you need a point. Okay, so to look for the gradient, what do you need? So this is a perpendicular line. So you are going to need M1, M2 equals to -1. You're going to apply this one over here. Okay? And you need a point that the line passes through. So which line that the point passes through over here? This is actually your midpoint, correct? So your point is going to be the midpoint over here. So you need these two ingredients to form the perpendicular bisector, the equation. Okay? So with this idea in mind, okay, let us look at example. Okay, with this idea in mind, let's look at example 6. Okay, let's look at example 6 over here. And let's take a look, question 6 from exercise 7.3. Okay, question 6. So we have two coordinates, point P and Q. We need to look for the perpendicular bisector of that thing. So where is P and Q? So in your brain, you can do some imaging over here. P is over here with a -2 and -6 and 5. Okay, Q is over here with a 2 and 15, coordinates 2 and 15, correct? Roughly. So means based on this line, I will need to find a midpoint, and based on this midpoint, I need to I need to figure out a perpendicular line which is very crooked when I draw it. Okay, like this. Okay, I need to look for this line over here. Okay, so what is the equation of this line? Okay, this is the image that they are asking for. Okay, so with this one, right, what's the first thing that we can do? How do we look for this point first? We can look for the midpoint. Okay, so here, let's look for the midpoint of PQ. Okay, so the midpoint of PQ is going to be the average of the two coordinates, correct? So -6 plus 2 over 2, 5 plus 15 over 2. So this is going to be equals to correct? -2 and 10. Okay, so once we get this point already, what else do we need? We got the point, we need the gradient. Okay, so first one, what's the gradient of PQ? So gradient of PQ is going to be equals to y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So this would be 10 over 8. So this is 5 over 4. Okay? Alright, so for the perpendicular bisector, now the gradient that we are looking for, now we have the original PQ gradient, and we also have the perpendicular bisector gradient over here, and both of these is -1. So this one is 5 over 4. We've got a perpendicular gradient and -1. So the perpendicular gradient is going to be equals to -4 over 5. Okay, so now I have the midpoint done. I have the gradient out. I have a point and a gradient. So I can proceed to build my equation. So here, finally, the equation of the perpendicular bisector, okay, is going to be equals to, now we can build with this one, y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So the point that I need here, negative 2 and 10, the gradient is negative 4 over 5. So what do I have over here? Y is equals to this. This is going to be plus 2. So minus 8. Okay, so it's going to be like this. Okay, can Now, so now, I think just now Marcus asked a very interesting question. Now, Che, why do you find, can I find the gradient straight away? Why do you find the midpoint first? Okay, now the answer is this. Okay, technically speaking, you can look for the midpoint, you can look for the gradient first, and you can look for the midpoint later. So this one, these two big things, right? This big chunk over here and this big section over here can swap. You can swap. So, but what we are doing here is like knowing the skill for midpoint, knowing the skill for gradient, we put these two cards out together at the same time. One more time, knowing this midpoint and knowing this one over here, we play both the cards at the same time. Which card you put on top of each other doesn't matter, correct? Right? So which one you do first doesn't matter, as long as you get the gradient out, as long as you get the midpoint out. Use these two together, find the equation of the line. Okay? So the sequence for this one doesn't matter. Sometimes the sequence matters, but for this case, the sequence does not matter. Okay? Can So one more time, in order to look for the equation of perpendicular bisector, the important thing is we need the midpoint and we need the gradient of the line, which is the perpendicular gradient. Okay? So the two ingredients to find over here. Okay? So this ends 7.3. That's all.